of life. Welcome to the Inflow podcast. I am your host, Michelle Bosch. I see a gaping hole across society that focuses on the outer work and forgets about the inner work, when what we really need is to bridge the gap between prosperity and spirituality to live a life in flow, with inflows of light, inflows of cash, inflows of creativity, inflows of grace in our lives. Each week, join me for powerful messages and interviews that will leave you inspired and ready to step into flow in your higher work. So now, let's go. Welcome to the Inflow podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Bosch. I'm coming to you again on yet another, little installment of what I like to call, mind vitamins and inspiration and also strategies that, will put money in your bank account and that are not necessarily in the perception of, from people out there, really needle movers when it comes to hard cold cash and a big payday from land flipping, but that I think are incredibly important. Sometimes the mechanism, the strategy, to create a land flip is all there. And what happens is that, what's the real estate? It's not that real estate transaction. The issue is the transactions that are happening in between this real estate here that sits in between, our two ears. And it's a very vulnerable episode for me today. We've been now in the entrepreneurial journey, or I've been in entrepreneurial journey along with Jack for 18, almost 19 years now. In, of course, the real estate space, wholesaling land, and now for a good number of years as well in the educational space. And what I have noticed is, in our educational company, how much of a small game, we have been playing. And I had two incredible distinctions that I made, and that also I think apply to any business, from two different mentors. One last week asked me, what would you do? What is your vision for your company if you weren't afraid? And that was incredibly powerful. And I had to sit with that question. But what I do know is that the very first thing that came, out, or that I thought of, that kind of like divine inspiration touched me with, was that if I wasn't afraid, I would be dreaming much, much bigger. And I think that is something that you can relate, that most of us can relate. A lot of us, have, had that same feeling. But it was important for me to hear it last week, and important to hear it in the context of yet a second mentor, conversation that I had with my other coach, where she identified, that it is, and we teach about this. We teach about the 4 stages of growth, being startup, being ramp up, build out, and mastery. And we have gone through these 4 stages, in our land flipping business. And we are right now, going through a different level of growth, or a different scope of those same 4 stages in our educational business as well. And how important it is for us to recognize that at some point there's a shift between, you moving from the activities that will create revenue, those producing or profit producing activities, to actually, as a CEO of a company, as a leader of your company, whether it's your land flipping company, your educational company, whatever company it is, that you're going to have to move up from not necessarily move up, transition, I think more like horizontally, into a space that it's not just about being all in, about saying yes to everything, about being scrappy, about doing whatever it takes. But that you need to move into a place where now you're bringing in team, and it's not just bringing in the team and abdicating, by, responsibility by, oh, okay, I have so-and-so taking care of this for me now. No, like you still, the successes and the failures of whoever you bring on the team, at the end of the day, reflect back on you. And that it's our job right now, or my job right now, to move in from, to transition into the next phase, and to recognize that I am at that point right now where we need to be focusing on elevating our team, challenging our team, incentivizing our team properly, and elevating our team, and really investing not just in myself and in Jack investing in himself, with mentors and coaches and masterminds and so on and so forth, but that we need to have our team, that we need to have, a specific line item, that's in the budget for our team to also grow. That right now it is our chance to basically really develop them into leaders, so that they can also grow in their ability, in their capability, in their confidence, and can help us, get to that next level. And it was a shift that, even though, we are big believers of mentorship and coaching, and we believe that we are doing that mentorship and coaching within our team ourselves, basically, and so on and so forth, that it is time for us to bring people, from mentors from the outside, to mentor our team, that it's not just up to us, that right now we're in the incredibly privileged position to go out there and start basically sourcing from the outside as well, people that are geniuses in a specific matter, and bringing them to the table to help us, collaborate in building our team and elevating our team to the next level. So yeah, in that, along with, the question of the other mentor saying or asking me, Michelle, what would you do if you weren't scared? What would you dare to dream if you weren't scared? Is kind of like the I don't want to say the solution, but the two pieces of a puzzle that go very well together. And as we move and transition into this level, something that I wanted to share with you is the fact that, you start to create a new dream, or a new level, or a new reality, and that you will find yourself, about to embark on this new journey, probably at a higher level, but on a new journey nevertheless, that where the terrain and the path is unexplored. You've never gone down that road before. So even though I might have a little bit more tools, more capabilities, because of my prior experiences in other businesses, in other lines of business, that I'm still going down a path that has not been traveled, and that it requires an incredible amount of courage, number one, but number two, recognition that in order for us to go to this new ring of prosperity that we're bringing to our team and to many, many more clients within our coaching company, our coaching educational business, that as that ring is growing, that ring of prosperity is growing, that there is going to be a ring of fire. We've gone through a ring of fire in multiple businesses before, but we went through them knowing that that's kind of like the shit sandwich in the middle that comes with attaining a goal, but at the same time resisting it as in like not really welcoming it. And who's gonna welcome change and gonna welcome struggle and gonna welcome challenge, in their own mind? Like, our reptilian brain is wired to, not even want to go there, to protect us, to keep us safe, and so on and so forth. And the big distinction right now, as I go into now, this new expansion of a ring of prosperity, and acknowledging that there's a new ring of fire that is going to come with it as well, that now I'm going into it with having made much more peace with the fact that it's not here to get me off course. It's not off here, that is not going to show up as a result of oh my God, why is this happening to me? Or from that kind of like unconscious victim mentality, resisting it and pushing it out and wishing that it wasn't so, but that I'm now coming to it from the perspective and from the point of view of that I'm welcoming it, that I'm okay with it, that I know that it makes me stronger, that and I know it from experience, but I'm choosing it, that I have that choice. It's kind of like, I had a conversation that you probably listened to with Jasmine Oliver, where she now has a choice, because of her land flipping business, to decide whether, she wants to teach or not. She has that choice. Before, she didn't have the choice. That was her sole, line of income. And now that she has both legs to stand on, that she has a choice, and how wonderful it is to have that choice. And that's pretty much what I'm experiencing, that now I'm doing this, I'm going into this ring of fire by choice. And that no matter what level you're at, that there's going to be no question about it, unexamined habits, unexamined programming, unexamined beliefs, that are keeping you from really welcoming, the bigger ring of prosperity and the ring of fire that comes with it, that are essential, that are needed, that are there for purification. Let's call it this way. That they're the things that basically come up in our reality, to deal with. So that we can continue to peel back the layers, of the core of the leader that we're here to become and embody. And that is exciting. I know that I'm a learner of life. I'm incredibly curious, and I'm curious for that next level. I am excited about that next level, and that I am much more in that peace perspective, or a peace state, knowing that I'm choosing, to go through that next ring of fire, because it's going to make us stronger. It's going to make us more agile, and it's going to, more than anything, create a bigger impact, inside of our community, and that community, as a result of that, is going to grow bigger and bigger, and not just bigger for the sake of being big, but bigger in its impact, in the depth of the transformation that we're able, to offer for so many, families that find land flipping, and that use it as a gateway strategy, as a gateway asset class to put, to replace corporate jobs that they don't like, to retire a spouse, to travel, to buy that second home, to bring your children to, to private school, or to, circulate your wealth in that community, whatever it may be. And that we're deepening that impact, and that I'm okay with that I'm okay with making that choice and taking that on. And it's satisfying, it's scary at the same time, but at the same time, it is almost exhilarating in just thinking about what is possible, and what that potential is, in terms of the scope and the depth that we're able to, of impact that we're able to now magnetize and amplify. And I just wanted, to share that with you guys, that there is such a thing as that ring of fire that we're all scared of, where basically this is where self-doubt lives. This is where criticism lives. This is where what people say about you or think about you, and the fear that comes with that lives. That's where maybe guilt from being perhaps the first one, in your family to ever have the audacity to dare, these dreams come from. And guilt actually is such a low frequency feeling or emotion to feel that, and it's easy to not notice it at the same time. You know what I mean? So there's going to be all of this unexamined stuff, that comes with it, and that we should welcome it. That it's part of that unknown dream that we're working all towards, and that it's here to purify us, that it's here to make us stronger, that it's here to make us better, and that will allow us to really continue pushing the boundaries of what is possible for ourselves, for our families, for our business, for our team, for our clients, for your buyers, for your sellers, for your money partners, and so on and so forth. There's so many aspects, and so many people that we touch when we're just trying to flip a piece of land, that we forget the magnitude and the scope of impact that we have on so many. Jonah, actually, one of our coaching clients, was telling me about the fact that she is now thrilled to see that her land flipping business is creating an incredible change within a community, because she was able to find value in a piece of land, that a seller had a burden of ownership with, and she was able to, relieve that person of that burden. So there's a win right there. She's able to find a buyer that sees the potential just like she does it, but because she was able to acquire this land at a low level, she's now able to bring this, and pass it on to her, to her buyer right now, and that buyer is going to turn that into 40 low-income housing units, and that she's going to be able to provide, as a result of her expertise and her unique ability in wholesaling land. She's going to be able now to be directly connected to the impact of providing low-income housing for families that are low income, and that really would not have an option otherwise, and would probably have to go and rent or get housing from maybe a slumlord that doesn't care about providing a great, clean, safe environment for a family to live and thrive, and that now her buyer is the opposite of that, and is basically creating a brand new spanking community with 40 units, and that she's been part of that she's been able to contribute to that, and that is fantastic. It's beyond just the money in the bag from the actual land flip, the scope of the ring of prosperity that she's now seeing, that she is directly affecting, and it's just, it was a beautiful conversation, to have. I actually have interviewed her here on Inflow, and you will probably hear about her in episodes to come. But yeah, so let's think about, we have 40 days, almost 40 days now, at the time of of this recording, where 2021, part of it has already passed. And I want to invite you to continue to think about what your vision for 2021 is, and how big would that vision be if you weren't scared, if you wouldn't be afraid of that dream, of the scope of that ring of prosperity, becoming wider and wider and wider. And what would that vision be, number one? And number two, kind of like this shift in mindset of, if instead of resisting the ring of fire that comes with it, the messy middle, or the mess in the middle, the chaos that ensues as a result of that if you're okay with letting go, with surrendering to making mistakes, and so on and so forth, and learning from those mistakes, and welcoming them as a means of improvement. That's what you would hear in the world out there, as a way to improve, as a way to grow as an individual, as a leader. I want to say it as a way to purify, and we're all diamonds in disguise, and it's a way to purify, kind of like the carbon and the black and the soot and the if you think about diamonds, they come from charcoal that has been under incredible amounts of pressure, and then think of this ring of fire that comes with any big dream and any big vision and any big vision that you have out there for yourself and for others that are coming along with you. And think about it as a way to basically to purify, to get closer and closer and closer and closer and closer to that core of the diamond, that is in you, that it's basically you peeling off the layers with that ring of fire that comes with it. And that it's time for us to not resist it, to welcome it, to be excited about it, to embrace it, and to thank it, for being a part of the package, of the vision, of the dream, to be grateful for it. That's been the biggest distinction I've made last week, and I hope this serves you and helps you in any way, shape, or form. I would love for you to, if you find this episode or any episode from the past or from the future, valuable to you, that you share the link to the podcast, wherever you're listening, to it, and just share and help me expand my reach, my ability to continue to grow, that ring of prosperity, to families through something so simple, not necessarily easy at times, but something that is simple, strategic, and incredibly, scalable, such as land flipping. Thank you very much, and I look forward to spending time with you all on the next episode of the Inflow Podcast. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
I hope this episode left you feeling inspired and ready to get inflows of cash, inflows of light, and inflows of faith in your life. I welcome your reviews on iTunes. Please leave me a review and help me create an amazing community of women in flow. Thank you, as always, for sharing your voice by going to michellebosch.com and joining the conversation about this show. And while you're there, grab a copy of my 10 Commandments to Living a Life in Flow. You can also follow me on Facebook at Michelle Bosch and on Instagram at Michelle Bosch Official. Thank you very much, and until the next one.